Welcome to Saultsports.com. I'm Tony Bonifero, joined alongside former University of Minnesota quarterback, former Walled Lake Western quarterback, and most importantly, former Sioux Minor football perennial all-star and current Eastern Michigan Eagles quarterback, Drew Vitto. Drew, thanks so much for joining us, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So, Drew, obviously a really exciting year. You got a ton of people in the Sioux who have been following your journey and following your path. Let's start off with the big news first. You announced that you were entering the transfer portal, and it didn't take you too long to find a new team. I know that you were kind of connected with Eastern Michigan in the recruiting process, kind of coming into this. What led you to choosing Eastern so quickly?
So I had committed to them before Minnesota, and it's pretty much the same staff that was there that recruited me, the same head coach, quarterback coach, and OC. So just the relationships I had built with them before I went to Minnesota, and then obviously being 25, 30 minutes from where my parents are at and where my sister goes to school. So that was nice. It was great. It was something I jumped on right away, and the transfer portal is crazy. There's so many kids in it, so I knew I knew that I need to jump on whatever was first available.
Yeah, absolutely. So you talked about that, and personally, I have family that live in Ypsilanti. My cousin is a graduate of Eastern Michigan. They live 5 minutes from the stadium, so I can't wait. Personally, it's going to be great there. You kind of leaving Minnesota, right? Obviously, that's a big deal. You're playing in a Big Ten school. What led to that decision after your first year?
Yeah, so I had a coaching change a week before I moved in January. So,
Okay.
the coach who recruited me actually is at Rutgers now, still coaching there, and then also just wanting an opportunity to play. And I felt like if I stayed in Minnesota, I wasn't going to get the full opportunity to see the field, and wanted to go somewhere where I'm going to play and play early, because at the end of the day, I just want to play ball.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, what was the coolest thing for you this season? I mean, you had tons of experiences, right? Things that we can only dream about. What for you? What was the coolest thing that you got to experience this season? If you have to pick one or two, that's fine too.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple.
Yeah.
One for sure was when we played at Iowa. The fans are like 4 feet from they're right there, right on
Oh,
the sideline. So they're screaming and yelling at you the whole game. So that was just a cool experience, and people were chirping me, and I wasn't even in the game. So it was just fun. It was a cool thing to be a part of. And then we played at Ohio State.
yeah.
So that's a cool stadium to see, and it was pretty full. And they obviously beat Minnesota pretty good, but it was just a cool thing to be a part of. And then also the last one I'll say is we played at North Carolina
Yeah.
early in the season, so that was beautiful, beautiful weather. North Carolina is a beautiful college, and we won. I felt like we lost. Sorry, I felt like we should have won that game, but yeah, that was just a cool place to play.
So what was that like? I mean, you're a kid who grew up in Sault Ste. Marie, right? Played football, obviously, growing up in Sioux Minor. What was that experience like? Did you have time to just kind of sit back and think to yourself, "Oh my God, like I am playing at Ohio State, right? I'm playing against Michigan." Did you take time to really sit back and think about that and to kind of enjoy it?
Yeah, that sort of thing happened for me week one actually. Just walking down the tunnel, and it's like I'm about to run out as a Big Ten quarterback. Like this is everything like that I've dreamed of and worked towards. So it was pretty cool. And I would always like go and like before the games, we go out like shorts and a t-shirt and go do our own like little warm up. I always go sit on the benches on the sideline and just take everything in, because this is crazy. I've came a long way and just really soaked it all in.
It's unreal. So obviously, you and Darius had quite the relationship, kind of, growing up, or since your high school days. And Darius, obviously, a heck of a football player at Minnesota. You're not going to be teammates for the first time in a number of years. What was that kind of like, leaving Darius? And are you guys still pretty tight?
Yeah, we're definitely still tight. We were roommates this whole time, so
Yeah.
we're still tight. And he said he was going to miss me when I was packing up, but we still have a great relationship. We still talked a few times since I've entered in the portal, but we'll still be tight, and we're still each other's biggest fans for sure.
That's awesome. So this is just from an interest standpoint, because I'm fascinated. about the college athlete. So I want to just talk to you briefly about what an average week is like for a Big Ten football player. So obviously your games are Saturday, right? But just, talk me through an average week of what it looks like starting on Monday morning.
Yeah, so normally, like at Minnesota, we would have Mondays off, and then our week would really start Tuesday morning. So for me and like the rest of the freshmen, we were all 4-day lifters, so we would lift Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Sunday. So Tuesday morning, we'd have a 6:30 a.m. lift for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then we'd go to breakfast, and we'd have meetings for another hour and a half, and then by like 10:30, we'd go to practice for another hour and a half, and then by 12:30, we're off the field. And then I would have class at 1 on Tuesday, so I'd have to shower up, get right to class, and then go to class from 1 till about 3:30, 4 o'clock. Then I would have tutoring for another hour, so 5:30, 6 o'clock. Then I'd eat dinner. Right, it was all in the same building, and then I'd go back and watch some film on my own for about an hour, and then be done with my day around 7:30, 8 o'clock, and be at home.
Wow, and it's kind of repetitive. That's kind of what you're doing.
That's sort of every day.
So it's an unbelievable commitment then, right? Like it's pretty crazy, eh?
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work, but it all pays off on Saturdays. All that hard work when you're out there playing, it really pays off.
And then home games, when you guys have an afternoon game, what time do you got to be at the field? Like those types of things.
Yeah, so we play on Saturday. So Friday night, we'll all stay at a team hotel. It was like 20 minutes away from the stadium. And then Saturday morning, we'll wake up. We'll have breakfast. Then we'll do like a walkthrough. Then we'll have some free time in our rooms, and we'll head to the stadium. Say we played at like 2:30. We'd head to the stadium at like we'd leave the hotel like 11:30, get to the stadium at 12, do our warm-ups and stuff, and then just game time 2:30.
Do they give you an idea if you're going to get any playing time, or to be ready, Drew, just in case, or is it always you're just you never know going into each game what's going to happen, and you just got to be ready at all times?
Yeah, you never know, because at any point, like I was 2 hits away from playing this year, so at any point, like I had to stay like focused and locked in the game plan, because especially in the Big Ten, like there's some big dudes out there hitting, so you have to be ready no matter what.
What was the one thing that you didn't really expect going into the season, or what's the one thing you didn't really realize about playing in the Big Ten that kind of caught you off guard, or was there one thing that kind of was like, oh man, this is tough?
Well, I had heard about it, but like the amount of hours a week that goes into preparing for one single game was a lot different than high school even. So that was one thing that I got used to it after 1 week, like all the extra film, because I went and watched film with like the other quarterbacks. So I just always did that with them just to get used to it. And then I would go and do it on my own just because I knew that's what they did. And that's what I had to do too, to be prepared.
What was the one thing you learned this season about yourself?
It's a long season, but I really learned about myself that if I just stay focused and stay locked in, that I can do this no matter how long the season is. And just knowing that, like, just having the confidence that I can do this and I can play at this level.
What was your biggest improvement that you made this season?
Well, obviously I didn't see the field a lot, but like the day after the games on Sundays, they called it Rovers at Minnesota. So it's like young guys or guys who didn't play much in the game would like scrimmage on Sundays. So that was my game. That was like my weekly game, and that was something I prepared for throughout the week, knowing that I had that on every Sunday. So that was something that was just like I treated like it was my Super Bowl. Yeah. And each week I just got better and better in that, and by the end of the season, I was tearing it up.
That's awesome. Sorry, I've never heard of this before. So is this something that most college teams do? They have a game on Sunday. Like, is it just like a scrimmage basically amongst the team, or how does that work?
Yeah. So I don't know about every college, but it was just like it was mostly freshmen and redshirt freshmen who didn't see the field at all. So we would come in Sunday at like 12, and we'd have mandatory lunch. Then we'd have lift at like 3, and we'd have treatment in between, and then we'd have practice Sunday night. So it was like Sunday night football. So
Okay,
I don't know if every school does that. Some schools
that's
probably just
cool.
do like a walkthrough or something on Sunday, but yeah, we
Yeah.
had scrimmages.
Oh, that's amazing, man. So let's get back to some Eastern talk here. So Eastern, obviously, it's nice and close to where you were. You're familiar with the school. Just talk about the Eagles program and kind of what you know about the program and what was the big selling point for you,
Yeah, so
besides obviously a chance to play. Sorry. Yeah.
so Coach Creighton has done a great job, really bringing that program back up to the forefront, and making MAC championship runs. But yeah, just a huge selling point was Coach Creighton and what he's done with the program and what it can be, and that was one of his things to me. When I get there in January, like it's time to go and like we can really win a MAC championship and we have the team to do it. And all he like one of the selling points was all we need is a quarterback to throw to these guys and we could do a lot of good things.
Oh, that's amazing. What are you, I guess, what are your expectations for the upcoming season? That was another question I had. So what do you expect going into this season?
Obviously want to win a lot of games, win a MAC championship, make a bowl game, just all of that, just win as many games as possible.
So in terms of your eligibility, this is just an interest question for me too. So does this year count against your eligibility or does it not?
So I'm considered a redshirt freshman. So
Yeah.
I didn't play in any games, so that means I'm redshirted. So I still have 4 years to play.
So you can be a red shirt, and I thought a red shirt meant like you didn't even dress. So you can dress, it's just not play, right?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. That's fair too. Okay, so that's good. So you do still have 4 years then of eligibility left.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. At Eastern, obviously, there was a little bit of a skirmish after their last bowl game, and that stuff happens, right?
Yeah.
But you're not expecting any sort of, you don't think there's going to be any repercussions or anything from that.
No, I don't think so. Like as far as like you mean like as far as like coaches go.
Anything like I don't think. I mean, it didn't look like anything, but I know people were talking about it. So yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there'll be some like stuff within the program, like Coach Creighton will hold those guys accountable who were really in there fighting. But
yeah, I know. Yeah, it looked. Yeah, it kind of looked just awkward, right? So and it's unfortunate that happened, but hey, things happen. The only other question I had regarding college football right now was the talk about agents. Now, obviously, the transfer pool is a huge deal, right? And agents weren't allowed to sign NCAA players for a number of years. I understand that's changed a little bit. How many kids actually have agents, and are agents prevalent in the in the NIL world and those types of things?
Yeah, so at Minnesota, I know for sure there was at least 3 or 4 guys who had agents, especially like the higher profile guys. Like we had Tyler Newman who's going to be getting drafted, and we had a tight end Brevin Spanford. I know both those guys have agents and already had lined up like where they're going to work out for the combine. And then Ethan, who was a starting quarterback, and then Cody, who was a middle linebacker, and then Darius are all signed with this agency that's in Minnesota. So they help with NIL, and yeah, they're signed to agencies and they help them get NIL deals and line stuff up for them.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So before we let you go here, Drew, couple questions just about the family. Kind of keep up to date with everybody. I know we're going to talk to your dad here in a bit as well, but talk a little bit about your sister and Taylor and kind of what she's up to. I know that she's, you're a huge fan of hers, just like she's a big fan of you, and she's making quite the name for herself on the basketball circuit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she's doing really well. She's a sophomore right now in high school, so she's playing high school basketball, starting on varsity right now. So she's doing good, and she played AAU in the summer, so she's been getting a lot better, and she's been tearing it up for sure.
That's great. Does she have hopes to go play college somewhere?
Yes, she does. Eventually, she's not super worried about that. She's just right now she's worried about getting better. But yes, eventually that's her goal, to play D1 basketball.
That's awesome. We got to get her on here too, and get the whole Viotto family and kind of talk to her about that too. So that's great.
Yeah.
So the last thing, kind of before I let you go, is the journey that you've had so far has just been incredible, right? You having to move away, going in grade 9 or before your high school year, those types of things. Obviously, I would think that you would think that it's worth it, what you went through. But what kind of advice would Drew Vitto now give to Drew Vitto, the 14-year-old kid?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say just all the hard work's going to pay off. Just keep grinding, keep pushing through it. It's a big sacrifice, but it all works out in the end, and hard work pays off.
That's good. And I think that's important, right? Because there's a lot of kids here in the Sioux, right, or locally that, I think need to hear that. That's why, it is. It's a big sacrifice and it's a big commitment.
Yeah.
Honestly, Drew, much appreciated. We thank you so much for your time. We know how busy you are. We all support you up here, and you have a following that is bigger than you kind of realize sometimes. And we're really proud of you to kind of see what you're doing with yourself and where you're going. And it's kind of a big deal for me now too, because I'm sure you've heard of Campbell. He's going to Northwestern.
Yeah. Played against him.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool that our Sioux Minor football team, we had 2 Big Ten football players on it. So it's a good thing we won the championship that year. That's great, man. But no, listen, next time you're up, if you guys come up in the summer or something, we'd like to get you back on and have a little chat before the season. And best of luck to you. I know you're going to have a ton of fans down at your games next year, and really looking forward to watching you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome, man. No problem at all. Best of luck, and keep making the Sioux proud.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. All right. Back with Drew Vitto. I forgot to ask the most important question that I was supposed to ask. So, Drew, I know you're on your way out, but I didn't get your 2023 bowl predictions. So let's start with Michigan versus Alabama. Who do you like in that one?
I think Alabama's going to win that game. They're a powerhouse as usual. So I got Bama.
Yeah, so you know what? I'm a Michigan guy, but I think Bama's going to win that one too. So I'm in agreement. What about Washington versus Texas?
I think it'll be a good game, but I think Washington will win. I think Michael Penix is going to tear it up, and those receivers are going to be too much for Texas.
A rare Bama-Washington final. Wow, you don't hear that on by too many of the pundits. I like it. All right, and your winner, who's going to be the 2023 national champion in your opinion?
I'm going Washington. I love Michael Penix and that team and those receivers. They're fun to watch, so I got Washington.
I like it. I know where my money's going now. Awesome, bud. Thanks so much for doing this. We appreciate it, and we'll definitely chat soon, man.
All right, sounds good. No problem. Thanks,
you. Bud.